I knew it was coming.
Steven's car pulls up, he gets out, and runs towards the hospital. Interior, hospital, night. Steven flies through the swinging doors and runs through the hallway of the hospital. He walks up to a doctor. Rick Legatos. He's a friend of mine. Where is he?
Room 205.
Can I see him?
Yes, but he can't speak. He's in shock.
Interior hospital. Steven enters the room. This is not in the movie. The camera pulls back to reveal Rick Lang in full traction, face down, his rear end heavily bandaged. He is unconscious. Steven tentatively walks over to Rick's rear end. He pulls back a small portion of the bandage and sees that his butt is covered with staples. The staples from the shape of a television with an antenna. Inside the TV is the word ring. Oh my god.
Intense.
Steve, perplexed. Ring? The phone rings. Steven jumps, then picks up the phone. Hello?
Poor Rick. Seems he had a little accident with the business end of a staple gun.
You're not going to get away with this.
The question is, are you going to get away with it? Apparently there was an anonymous tip placed to the police leading them to a staple gun at the crime scene with your fingerprints all over it.
Oh, it's Robin. All right, I'm ready. We reveal that the cable guy is at Robin's apartment. They are getting ready to go out.
Be right there.
Was that Robin?
I've got to go. We're going to take a romantic stroll on the information superhighway.
Steven drops the phone and runs out of the room. So he put ring on his butt for Steven to see that and then call him on the phone. That's insane. And now I have no idea that there's a script that he goes to see Rick in the hospital like that. That's so quick. It's moving so fast. Steven runs down the hall to the elevator. Before he reaches, the doors open, and the two policemen who arrested him at work walk out. Steven quickly turns left, but the policemen see him and make chase. Officer, hey, hold it! Exterior hospital night. Steven runs out of the hospital. The two policemen run after him, about 20 feet behind. Steven jumps in his car and takes off. The police follow in their car. Exterior, city street, nighttime. Steven's car turns a corner and flies down a busy boulevard. A second later, the police cars follow with sirens blaring. The exterior, satellite dish. The cable guy and Robin are at the dish. He gives her the same tour he gave Steven earlier in the film.
It all started in Lansford, Pennsylvania, where Panther Valley Television and the assistance of Gerard Electronics created the first cable television system.
Exterior, city street, the chase continues. So Steven has a chase with the police in the movie, too.
Oh, God.
God, all this is cut. Steven basically just goes to the satellite dish to go see Robin. The cable guy and Robin are now standing on the edge of the dish.
The future is now! Soon every American home will integrate their television, phone, and computer. You will be able to visit the Louvre on one channel and watch a female mud wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play a game of Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam.
Exterior, city street, the chase continues. Steven slams on the gas until he is driving 100 miles per hour. He weaves in and out of traffic, running stoplights and avoiding obstacles. The police cars disappear behind him on a dime. Steven turns left onto a residential street and shuts off his lights. A moment later, all of the police cars pass by. Steven pulls out and heads the other way. Exterior, satellite dish. This is really fascinating, but I really think we ought to go.
I knew you'd appreciate it. I took Steven here once, and he didn't give a rat's ass about my interests.
I'm worried about Steven.
Maybe Steven should be worried about you. So where was I?
Steven drives his car up the muddy dirt road. It gets stuck in the mud. He gets out of the car and begins walking to the satellite dish, which is surrounded by a chain link fence. He hears the sounds of horse hooves coming closer and closer. Then he sees a headless man on a horse ride straight towards the fence. The horse has the coat of arms from medieval times. When he reaches it, he smashes off the chain with the sword, then rides through. The horse rears back on its hind legs. The horse runs full speed directly at Steven. At the last possible moment, the horse jumps over Steven. When the horse stops, the cable guy pops his head through the top of his coat.
Ichabod Crane! The Disney Channel showed it all last month! The cable guy rides toward him again.
Wait, so he comes in the medieval times armor with his head down, and that's awesome.
That's insane.
Why was that? That's such a great... There's so many callbacks.
Oh my god.
Like, all this stuff earlier is to set up the third act.
I know.
and all the stuff he does.
All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just I didn't
you're
know.
good, man.
That's amazing. Him writing it because I was like, oh my god, is that the cable
I know.
guy?
I'm just at a loss for words right now. It's like it's.
Ichabod Crane, the Disney Channel showed it on that month.
Like, oh my god, like the Vegas announcer. Let's get ready to rumble!
This time, when he gets near Steven, he leaps off the horse onto him. They both slam into a puddle of mud. The cable guy punches him in the stomach and then the face. Where's Robin?
This isn't about Robin. This is about you and me.
Steven charges directly at the cable guy. Where's Robin? Steven tackles him to the ground and begins hitting him. They are both covered in mud, like warriors from the rainforest. Steven grabs a large rock and holds it over his head. Tell me!
I'm sorry. I didn't catch the question.
Steven brings down the rock. At the last moment, the cable guy moves his head. The rock slams it to the ground. Wait, Steven was going to kill him?
Steven, you've changed. I like it.
The cable guy convulses his body, pushing Steven off of him. They wrestle on the ground. The cable guy gets on top of Steven, then pulls a power drill out of his belt and turns it on.
I think it's time to make you cable ready.
Vroom! He slowly brings the drill down to Steven. Steven blindly reaches behind him. He grasps a large branch and bats the cable guy off him. The cable guy grabs a large tree branch and runs towards Steven. They begin fighting in a fashion which mirrors their medieval times sword fight. This is so badass. It sets it up and pays off.
Last time we fought, I let you win. Best 2 out of 3.
Music up. Ominous version of Star Trek battle music. Dun, 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 dun,
Don't know how to
dun,
play
dun.
that.
Yeah, I know.
I wish I knew how to play.
Cable guy.
You treat me like the TV. You use me, but you can't live without me.
The cable guy smashes Steven in the knee with his branch.
You can't shut me off with your remote control. I'm not like Robin and Rick and Mommy and Daddy and brother and sister and cousin.
Steven smashes him in the head with the branch. I got the point. The cable guy goes down. He appears to be unconscious. In the distance, Steven! He looks to the dish, but cannot see her. Steven climbs over the edge into the dish. Below him, he sees that the bottom of the dish is filled with several feet of rainwater. Man, see, in the movie, they just jumped to that. It's crazy. There was this whole, prologue moment before Steven gets in there. 3 wires go from the points on the edge of the dish and meet at a point at the center of the satellite. 30 feet above the floor of the dish, Robin is hanging by her bound hands from the center of where those wires meet. Steven climbs down towards the bottom of the dish. Help me, Steven! In the background, we see the blurry image of the cable guy climbing through an entry hatch at the top of the dish. Robin's eyes fill with terror. Steven, look out!
Yes, Steven, look out!
The cable guy leaps out of the hatch like a jack-in-the-box. He slides down the dish, knocking Steven down. The two tumble down the slope of the dish. Awesome action scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It looks like fun. They tumble all the way down into the water.
I've missed you.
The cable guy immediately punches Steven, sending him back into the water. The cable guy dives on top of him. A moment later, the cable guy pulls Steven up, then grabs his collar and speaks right into his face.
Dry land is not a myth. I've seen it. Kevin Costner from Waterworld. I don't know what all the fuss was about. The movie ruled. I saw it 6 times.
He pulls Steven under the water and tries to hold him there. He pulls him up after a few moments.
Isn't it weird that we've wound up in this position?
He pushes him under the water again. After a moment, he pulls him back up. Steven grasps for air.
Who would have thunk it?
Enraged, Steven punches him in the mouth with such tremendous force that it appears to have knocked his jaw out of alignment. Cable guy, without any lisp.
You're gonna have to do better than that, Steven. Steven! Hey, my lisp is gone!
Steven hits him again, this time on the other side of the face. Cable guy.
You stupid son of a bitch.
The cable guy falls unconscious. Robin. Steven! Steven runs to her. He runs to the side of the dish. He realizes he must climb up to release her. He climbs onto the wire and begins tightrope walking towards her. He walks very slowly, almost losing his balance several times. Hang on! Close on. The opposite wire. The cable guy's muddy hands slam onto it. He pulls himself up.
I know what you're saying. Who does this guy think he is? Jason?
Oh my god. He's like talking to the audience.
Oh my god.
Stay away from her! Suddenly the cable guy does a front flip and lands perfectly on the wire. So many stunts in the script.
I saw that in Trapeze, starring Tony Curtis. He was just on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. He still looks terrific.
Steven is about 10 feet from the dangling Robin. I love there's a character named Robin dangling in a trapeze thing. It's very Batman. The Graysons. But the reverberation from the cable guy's landing makes Steven lose his balance. He falls over. He catches onto the wire. He is left hanging there. The cable guy sees this and begins to run incredibly fast towards Robin.
And the race is on.
He does a cartwheel on the strut, hops on one leg, then takes off towards her, running at full speed. Steven, left with no other option, simply bounces up and down on the wire. Robin sees this and joins him. The cable guy begins to lose his balance.
This is such an anticlimactic way to end it.
The cable guy loses his balance and falls to the water below. The cable guy surely met his demise. Steven and Robin are sitting in the dish a few feet from where the water begins. They are exhausted from their ordeal. They hold each other close. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I love you. I love you too. You're right. We shouldn't get married. I've got a lot of problems to work out which have absolutely nothing to do with you. We'll work them out together. They kiss. Suddenly the cable guy pops up from underwater. He looks frightening. Then he starts coughing uncontrollably. He looks like a small boy who has swallowed too much water.
What just happened? Where am I? Oh yeah, I was trying to kill you.
He leaps at Steven and puts him in a headlock. He squeezes until Steven passes out. Then he lays him on the ground. Cable guy to Robin.
It's a sleeper hold. Hulk Hogan used it on Stallone in Rocky 3. He should wake up in 30 seconds, so let's get going.
He holds her... Man, a lot more movie TV references in this
yeah.
than the movie. He holds her around the neck and puts a staple gun to her head. You remember when he's shooting it at her in the movie? Ding, ding, he has the staple gun at the third act. Then he walks her out of the dish. Steven slowly wakes up. He looks and sees the cable guy and Robin beginning to climb up the radio antenna. He quickly gets up to follow them. Exterior, antenna, night. The cable guy and Robin climb the antenna. Steven follows them up from the distance. The cable guy and Robin reach a platform at the top of the antenna. The cable guy holds Robin with one hand and holds a staple gun to her temple with the other hand. Steven climbs onto the platform. Easy! He walks with Robin to the edge of the platform. There is 100-foot drop to the dish below. A police helicopter hovers in the air around them.
It didn't have to be this way, Steven. I'm just trying to tell you the kind of things that can happen if you mistreat people.
Don't do anything stupid!
You know, this is just like the movie...
Just like the scene.
You know, it's just like the scene in that Clint Eastwood movie, Dirty Harry.
No, this is not like anything. This is not a movie. We're real people. You're hurting us. This is reality. The cable guy's eyes turn sad. This hits the cable guy like a sucker punch. Dazed, he lets go of Rob. Oh, so now all the stuff he did in the movie that we thought was scary, he actually was doing stuff for movies, really. Being in the floorboard, the school thing. He's seeing the world as a movie. She runs to Steven's arms. From below, we hear the sound of sirens. A pack of police cars pull up and surround the antenna. The cable guy's expression changes. He begins to look like a scared little boy.
If this is reality...
He climbs onto the guard railing.
I'm out of here.
The cable guy slowly falls backward off the antenna. Steven, no! Steven lunges for the cable guy, grabbing his forearm, then grabbing the antenna with the other hand. You're not going anywhere. The cable guy hangs high above the satellite dish. Steven tries to pull the cable guy back to the platform, but the cable guy does not want to be saved. Don't do this! You just need help. We all get lonely.
Yeah, but I get really lonely. I mean, look at me.
You're gonna be fine. Just come on up.
Steven, I think I sat too close to the television. Mommy was right.
Steven can't hold onto his forearm any longer. The cable guy's arm slips, and Steven grabs onto his hand at the last possible second.
It's too late for me. But there's a lot of little cable boys out there who still have a chance. Say goodbye to the babysitter.
The cable guy stops holding on to Steven's hand. He begins falling towards the dish below. Richard Carey goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, yeah. A very long wide shot of the entire antenna. The cable guy falls backwards towards the saddle. I think it feels a lot more tragic here. You know, like, because we don't have the babysitter set up. He's like, my mother was right. I look too much into the thing. But we've lost the, I learned the facts of life. by watching the fact of life. Long wide shot of entire antenna. The cable guy falls backwards towards the satellite. A nuclear family is watching court TV. On the TV, reporter speaks to the camera from the courthouse. Reporter, this is the moment America's been waiting for. We've just been told the jury is ready to render their decision. The cable guy sails through the air. As he falls, he looks almost peaceful, totally comfortable with what he is doing. Interior, couch potato. A couch potato sits on a fold-out bed, his eyes glued on the television. On the TV, the court clerk is about to read the jury's decision.
By unanimous vote, the defendant Sam Sweet.
Close on the cable guy plummeting towards the dish, about to hit. The camera flies through the crowd at the same speed as the cable guy straight into a close-up of the television.
Has been found.
We hear a loud thud. The screen turns to white noise. We hear a loud thud. The screen... Oh, they wrote that twice, sorry. Stephen and Robin gasp back at the antenna. From below, we see the cable guy's silhouette motionless on the struts of the satellite dish. Exterior, the city. All of the color televisions, which can be seen through the many windows of apartments and houses, turn to white noise. The television shows white noise. Everyone screams at their TV. Preferred customer, I ass. The cable guy appears dead. The needle of the antenna sticks through his midsection. A red light blinks at the tip of the needle. Then the cable guy's eyes open.
Damn! That hurt like a mother. What the hell was I thinking?
He looks at the needle.
Oh man, that stings.
Stephen and Robin looked relieved.
A little help here.
Interior, couch potato apartment. Night. A pasty white couch potato stares at the white noise. Not sure what to do. He turns and picks up a book. He begins to read. The cable guy is being taken away on a stretcher towards an emergency helicopter. Stephen and Robin are covered in police blankets. Stephen calls to a paramedic. Is he going to be all right?
I don't know. It's in God's hands.
The paramedics put the cable guy on the helicopter. The helicopter flies away. POV shot from the helicopter, looking down on Stephen and Robin holding each other, getting smaller and smaller until they disappear. So that last dialogue, Ricky Ricardo's not there with that.
Yeah.
The cable guy lies on a stretcher. I'll be the paramedic now. Hang in there, buddy. Stay with me. Just stay with me. The cable guy's eyes slowly open. He motions for the paramedic to come closer.
Am I really your buddy?
The helicopter flies away. The end. All right. That is Ben Stiller's... Well, it's not... This is the script that he didn't even write. But
the revision by Judd Apatow, who's the original guy.
Yeah, Hurwitz, Justin Hurwitz. Oh, we're right here. Lou Holtz Jr. Sorry. Lou Holtz Jr. and then Judd Apatow... I'm assuming wrote a lot of the jokes in here, but I'm thinking this original structure and plan came from Lou Holtz Jr.
Yeah.
A lot of differences there at the end, though. You don't get... I think I actually prefer the movie dialogue there with the Heineken.
Let's go get a Heineken.
Yeah, and it's Ricky Ricardo. Oh, am I really your buddy? Yeah, I think that plays a little bit better, but okay, we're done with that. So what are your thoughts if you had to wrap this up? Because we're on an hour here on this last bit here.
Oh, I wish they wouldn't have cut out a lot of the scenes in this movie. I wish they would have stuck to the script a lot more, like with really embraced the horror aspect and just let it go there. It was really contained in the movie. Like, after reading the script, that it's just a '90s comedy. It is what they're trying to go for.
It's a '90s comedy that's kind of parroting those movies, but this film actually becomes one of those movies at a point, like Single White Female, and the thing about it is, like, the last half hour in the script just kind of goes crazy.
And we were even thinking, like, what if Jim Carrey wasn't in the movie and he had everything in the script? Like, would he hurt the movie if it was fully fleshed out?
I wonder that, too.
Is that why they had to cut out a lot of the scenes?
In retrospect, how much of it was Jim Carreyisms and letting Jim Carrey go there? It's hilarious, but they did it, then it changes the script. Mm-hmm. That was curious to me, because you were doing the list, and for a while I was thinking about it as Jim Carrey, but as we kept reading, I stopped seeing it as Jim Carrey. Right. And I started to see who Chip was in the script, and there's so much more... There's just a lot more physical stuff in the script that I'm shocked they didn't do with Jim Carrey, and there's a lot more, I think there's a pathos. Now, I do think that flashback scene with him as a kid is genius in the movie.
Yeah.
And I do think that, it's time to kill the babysitter. But And that doesn't fully flesh out in this movie. It's kind of an unfinished movie and script thematically. There's ideas there, like with the Stan Sweet trial and the brothers, that I'm not quite sure what they're hinting at with celebrity culture. But in the script, what I notice much more is that he wants to become Steven more so than in the movie. It feels much more like he's trying at the end there to... because he doesn't have an identity, so he lives through these other people like movie characters. And that third act, I very much like how he references several, like the Tony Curtis thing. I think the movie lacks a little bit of that. It's very little because like Silence of the Lambs and stuff.
Yeah, he could have definitely went down as one of the best like serial killer type slasher villains.
I think the movie would be more of a cult classic because I think people wouldn't just love it as a comedy because it is a funny movie.
Definitely think Ben Stiller should have been Steven, as we
Me
said
too.
earlier.
I think Ben Stiller, in retrospect, Matthew Broderick was miscast.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick should have been like Stan and Sam Sweet.
It would have been hilarious. Could you imagine?
Yeah,
but Ben Stiller, he would have been perfect as kind of an asshole guy, but not really an asshole in this movie, and would have really fit this character. And I just would have preferred it. In my head, Ben Stiller would have been better in the lead role. Just picture him running down the hallway and stuff, and how he would have done those scenes. I'm not saying I love Matthew Broderick. I love Election and Ferris Bueller and War Games, and he was terrific in Brighton Beach Memoirs, the play. He won a Tony Award for that. It's not that I think Matthew Broderick's a bad actor, don't get me wrong, but it's the pitch of the performance. Steven's a certain kind of character, and it's really what Ben Stiller could have brought to it, in my opinion, during that, like, There's Something About Mary time, that this really was being made a couple of years before that. Outside of that, though, I'm not trying to knock Cable Guy. I love Cable Guy. But there's the thing about when you read a script, you really learn that movies are... It's the director's vision and writers and different types... There's so many different ways to make a movie.
Yeah.
When a screenplay is this fleshed out. This could have been more of a horror film if somebody would have taken it that way. It could have been more of a satire parody movie.
Definitely.
Or it could have been what it was with Ben Stiller.
I really wish they would have done the whole dream sequence, though. The
Yeah.
way that it was in the script. That would have been a much better dream
My
sequence.
two biggest things that I wish were in here from that were cut were... Because I'm fine. I get why they cut some of the medieval time stuff. But yeah, the dream sequence I wish had the Sweet Brothers in the shower scene and the pillow. And I wish they had Jim Carrey under the floorboards in the axe scene. Really, and honestly, I really want the Rick going to the school scene, but I get why they may have cut that for pacing. But it brings Rick into the third act, which really helps the movie. Because Rick kind of leaves the movie. But bringing him back in and him in the hospital in this creepy scene where Steven goes and then sees his ass says ring in it with staples and then the phone rings, that's pretty awesome. It would have been a great movie scene. And I'm wondering if these were filmed at all. These might be deleted scenes. Like, I'm wondering in my head if they did watch a rough cut of the movie and maybe the tone didn't work. It's my theory. Is that those scenes weren't hitting like they did in the script. Because when you make a movie, you fuck up tone sometimes. And I'm wondering if maybe they were watching it and they're like, crap, we have to cut these scenes. And he tried to make a more focused, funny movie. Because maybe he couldn't find the horror movie in there. I'd like to look up deleted scenes or what they shot, if they shot all of this. Because I'm assuming they did shoot a lot of this and it was cut out. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if some of these scenes with Jack Black were in the movie. Or these extra scenes with Jim Carrey, like the floorboard scene, and they just cut it out. Because, I don't know. I feel that way. I feel like it might have been in there. Robin feels like a more fleshed out character in the script than she did in the movie. It gets by a lot on Leslie Mann being hot. And that's where Judd Apatow met her. But that's, like, really the only benefit is that the chick who plays her is super hot. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm into her because she's hot. She had a great face. But on the script, I think Robin's a more interesting character.
Yeah.
Some things the movie did better. The boss, Hal, is much better executed in the movie. I think the stuff with the parents probably comes across a little bit better in the movie than it did here in the script. I think the father and mother come across...
The family as a whole.
Yeah, it comes across a lot better, and the casting in particular really makes that. And I think there's kind of like a... I don't know, what was your favorite part of reading? What did you enjoy the most about doing this?
Oh, I always wanted to do the medieval time scene and the...
Yeah.
I really wanted to do the bathroom beat-up scene, like all the classic ones, because those are just what we always quote.
And they're pretty close to the script, honestly. And those are the big scenes in the movie that we all love, is the medieval times and the basketball game.
It was just really fun to do, and I think
for me,
I think it came out well. So.
For my favorite thing would be the medieval times was the most fun, but my favorite thing that we actually did probably that was discovery for me was when we did the early on in part, I think it was either part 1 or part 2, but like when we started to figure out that the script was a little bit different, and we kind of like were enjoying that aspect of it. That was the most fun for me. Like we started to be like, oh wow, that line of dialogue's completely different, and then you have to say that it changes the scene, like, and that was we figured that out like in the very early part of the movie. Stuff was a little the opening scene's pretty much exactly the same, But once you get into it a little bit, you're like, oh, the cable guy actually has different dialogue, some of the stuff he says. And you start to see Jim Carrey not in the role, but just anyone.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of shocked me the most, was that Jim Carrey's performance didn't dominate the script reading, which I was very fearful that's what it was going to be. So I don't know if somebody gets through all, because this is going to end up being, I guess it's going to be 6 parts, because we're going to split this final part up into 2.
Yeah.
Half hour each, probably. But the last part here was a long stretch. This ended up being, let's see, how much did we record? An hour. So this ended up being a 2-hour thing.
Oh,
But
shit.
I think the script reads like a 2-hour movie, because those
Yeah.
extra scenes make it 2 hours. Because it's about a 90-something minute long movie, but if you had those scenes with Rick and Robin extra and some of those other scenes, it'd probably be about a 2-hour movie, I'd say. And there's part of me that really wants that frickin' version of Cable Guy, and I'm kind of devastated now. It's like, hey, maybe a remake? Maybe actually
hopefully,
stick closer to the script? You know, I mean, I know people don't like hearing remake, but there's a movie here that we didn't get.
Yeah, you can definitely do a different type of it. Like,
Yeah, different kind of movie. Yeah, but I don't know. I give the movie itself like an 8 out of 10 as a movie, even though it's a 10 for me as a movie to watch. But you know, as a movie, I give it an 8. The script, I'd give like an 8.5 or a 9. I think it's a very good script. I've never read it. It was very fun to read. It reads well as a script. If you guys enjoyed listening to us, please give us a request of a script you'd like us to read.
Yeah.
We're trying to stay in certain genres. We don't want to really do a drama script because I don't think that would suit us. But we don't mind doing like genre movies like horror, comedy, very, you know, because I just don't want to sit here and read The Godfather with you. I think that would suck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing, and we always been wanting to do this, and now we finally just did the Cable Guy. So, just ready to see if this works out. And do more of it.
But yeah, we're gonna have more music and sound effects, and hopefully a narrator
Try
and
and
more people.
Get better as we go with it, because
We'll maybe add more voice actors to it, so we don't have
Definitely,
to do all the voices.
but
But
try
yeah,
to play instruments while we're doing this. And,
yeah, we're pretty much narrating, doing instruments, sound effects, talking, and acting.
Clearly, I'm not that good at piano. If you,
No, but it's just an atmosphere.
yeah, I was just trying to.
But if you guys have any requests, put them in there. If you have any, I love The Cable Guy. It's a cult comedy classic from the '90s, and this made me fall in love with it in a new way.
Yeah.
That I hadn't been in love with it before, and it made me appreciate it in a new way, and it made me appreciate a screenwriter.
Yeah.
Of the movie, which I don't think gets a lot of credit for that movie, is the screenplay, and that's actually kind of the standout element now in retrospect. This was a damn good script that could have been made by a lot of filmmakers, and there was a lot of hit movies in here, different kinds of movies. So that's what I'm more excited about, is if we have more discoveries like this. We really lucked out on this one. But yeah, if you guys liked us, let us know, and give us some requests for some scripts you want to hear us read. Like I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of Ace Ventura. Dumb and Dumber would be a fun one.
Yeah, definitely.
Harry and Lloyd, yeah, because
I was thinking about that.
because
it'd be pretty funny.
Because we know that movie well too.
Yeah.
And I could do every Jeff Daniels part pretty. I could even do a Jeff Daniels impression, like completely redeem yourself.
How could you do something like this and completely redeem yourself?
But yeah, thank you for listening. If you listened to this whole 2 hours, I hope you guys had as much fun as we did, and I hope our fun came across. And kudos to Judd Apatow. This is honestly one of the best things he's ever worked on.
Yeah.
To his credit, because I give a lot of flack to Judd Apatow, but this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Credit to him.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really did, and I don't know what else to say.
Almost
But
seamless in a way. Too.
yeah, it is. It was seamless. Yeah, you don't really know who was writing what.
Yeah.
Or what ended up, the tone's even there in the script. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess script reading's what we're calling these. But we just finished the freaking Cable Guy. We kicked its ass.
Brr.
All right, give us some outro music on your crappy piano playing.
I already turned it off.
Oh, you are a jerk.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I guess this ends our.
I guess this concludes our broadcast day.
Yeah. I guess this concludes our broadcast day. Yeah. All right, wait. One last thing. Oh, damn it. This is frozen. I want to do one scene where you read as Steven and I read as the Cable Guy just for fun.
Yeah, okay.
Because we never got to do that.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
And I think it'd be fun for people to listen that got to the end of this, because they might even be curious. Like, what would it play like if you two would have done it opposite? So, let's find a good Steven Chip scene where they have a lot of dialogue together. Okay, let's see. Okay, I guess here. Where are we at? Yeah, okay. Right, here we go.
Sorry, it's fall.
It's fine.
Ugh.
Okay.
All right, so
I'll start at Steven laughs. The Cable Guy joins him and then continues to laugh way too hard for way too long. As the laugh ends, it quickly turns into an awkward moment. The Cable Guy does not want to leave. This is early on, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
So here you go.
Yeah. I'm about finished here. Okay. I feel good about this.
Cable guy walks to the door. Oh, one thing.
Turns back immediately. Yeah?
Yeah. I have this friend. He said he gave his cable guy $50 and he got free movie channels. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
You mean illegal cable?
I guess so. Yeah.
Who told you that? I want his name.
No, it's cool, dude. Just forget it.
You're offering me a bribe. What you have done is illegal, and in this state, if convicted, you could be fined $5,000 or spend 6 months in a correctional facility.
Please, that was dumb. I was just making conversation, man. No big deal. What?
I'm just jerking your chain. Wake up, little snoozy. I'll juice you up. It all is in a push of a button. He puts his arm around Steven and walks him towards the front door.
Oh, great. How much?
Don't worry about it. I couldn't charge you. Your girl just booted you. Consider it one guy doing another guy a solid.
That is so nice.
Hey, you're a nice guy. You'd be surprised how many customers treat you like shit. Like I'm a goddamn plumber or something. Here's my personal beeper number. It's just for preferred customers. Never call the company. They'll just put you on hold.
Thanks. Really?
Holds up comic cards. Jokes.
You're gonna get some good marks here.
Hey, maybe someday I'll take you out to the satellite and show you how all this stuff works. It's really incredible.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that one day.
How about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? Tomorrow's not good, man.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Sit home and stew about your ex?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I crossed the line. Sorry.
You didn't cross the line.
No, cool. I'll pick you up at 6:30. On the flip side. The cable guy leaves before Steven can reconsider. Steven cannot believe he just got roped into that. All right, that was fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Different version, just to show you there, us acting different movie.
Yeah.
Really is. That's how scripts work. That's why I want to show there, like, different people reading it's different movie.